So, okay, so as if we take this idea that we were talking about this other reality, is related, I guess, with this place the oracles were going, or like, what is the relation of the oracles and these aoratos? It would be fair to think, or like it will make sense to think that this place was the same place that the oracles were engaging with.
Yeah, remember, the oracles have sexual relations with the god, right? In all of the backstories, in all of these different Apollonian oracles, behind all of this curtain of rite is a relationship between a singer and the god. So that the very Bacchic rite itself is this. It's the relationship between the singer, that is Tione, the mother of Dionysus, and the god, the Zeus. The lightning is what is brought. And that's all the oracle is doing. But the Greek-speaking world, in all different ethnicities, described that as a sexual relationship. And it's part of the reason that the Christians said idolatry is a sexual act, right? It's a sexual act. Because it was, right? Imagine if you took your church to the level of the communion being the ejaculate of the host, and that was the actual transubstantiation that took place in that woman's body, or a eunuch. You can get a eunuch too. Sorry. Yeah.
So we're inferring that you will get a eunuch or a woman, but seems to be virgins at the same time. So could you elaborate in the idea of, like, there is a sexual relationship with the god, but she seems to be a virgin. So what are we talking about here?
Yeah, she has to come to the point of that orgiastic climax. She has to find. There's a reason that the word orgy is for us, the kind of idea of a sex party. But originally, it is the performance of the religious act. So this goes way, way back. This is deeply rooted. You cannot have these Bacchic satanic mysteries without the sex act. There must be an orgiastic orgasmon. There has to be an orgasm. There has to be the creation of seed. And not just from a man, but they considered it seed from a woman as well. That ejaculate that a woman has is a seed, in the very same way that a male's ejaculate is a seed. So they are looking at the performance of that sexual magic as the bridge for the invisible. We bring it out. I told you Eros can't be seen, but you can see the effects of Eros. You can see the effects of that attraction, for example, that two people will get for each other, or a repulsion that one will get when the other one has an attraction. Those forces are what are being the invisible powers that the Magus, through the Logos, through the song, through the expression, the verbal expression, is able to control. I can control you with aphrodisiacs. If there's one thing I can tell you from antiquity, of all the Greek that I've read, the most popular topic is drugging somebody into sex. So this is a part of the rite. And for the person to reach the point where they emit seed, is the platform that launches us into the invisible. For some reason, I don't know why, Bruno, but for some reason, they had to have the mind in orgasm under the influence of these death inducers in order to get you to the world of the invisible, in order to that spiritual realm. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And actually, is question I've been asking you for the past 6 months in different ways. So I'll ask you again, like how well, how we can do you have, because yeah, you will think like, of course, well, and a feeling of an orgasm at the same time, that inducer, because I'm thinking about a situation that's going on at the same time. So it feels like completely overwhelming to like have all of these elements happening to yourself in, I don't know, like half an hour. But what I mean is like, do we have like some kind of like example or with the text that we can talk about this, or like orgasm drugged with the dead inducer on you and all of this at the same time? Do you have some accounts about this situation that we can just create an imaginary, I mean, like image in, just to try to understand like why this person will be feeling, I guess.
Yeah, you can reconstruct it, but you have to start with the most non-theoretical, the most practical, the most, substantive, I guess you'd say. The and that's the drugs. Once you look at different drugs that are being used in rites, then you start looking for words that will betray the activities that the cult participant is performing in. So we have all of these wonderful little descriptions. For example, there is the Black Sphinx who takes the scroll and inserts it in her vagina. On the scroll, in the very same text, on the scroll is written the song in an ink that is medicated. She is placed during this whole rite with a male child. She is called the pederast, right? Her reaching her climax is the production of her song. There is some kind of music mechanics that when a person is in the height of their ecstasy, their natural physical sexual ecstasy, there's a way to bring song. It's what the oracles are doing. It is a sex act that can and must use an intermediary. The vehicle or the instrument is that priestess. It's her that's being tuned to the universe. So again, you don't think of sex. We don't in moderns. I don't know. Maybe somebody does, but you don't think of the sex act as a musical performance, despite the fact that we associate very specific vocalizations with the act of having intercourse. So the orgiastic release, that little death, is absolutely programmed into the mystery. Remember, all of this has to do with what? An induction of death followed by a resurrection. We're going to put you through a process of dying and being born again. So, the mystery is not an operation that explains all of ancient religion. No, it's one very specific rite meant to pierce that veil between the visible world and the invisible world. Those two realities can be brought together, and the person that does that is the initiate. So the power of that woman that, let me say this, there was a great priest, Plutarch in antiquity, and Plutarch had oracle friends. And one of his oracle friends, he shared letters with, and he talked to her about the sacred rite that is female sexuality, not masculine. The sacred rite that is female sexuality. And he describes so elegantly how this is a rite natural to every woman, and that it can be brought out and mastered and put into a cult in order to lead. And that cult would be visionary. That cult could create lines of priestesses whose bodies could perform the same mystery. Remember, it's their seed that is life. Even when Jesus refers to his going back to that origin, that life, that bread of life that gives us the renewal, right? These are references to mystery cults that are using human body fluids and rites that are sexual, drug-induced rites to bring you to a place that you cannot go otherwise. The priestess is there to harness her special voice in the cosmos.